Been a long time coming, this has. We're off the mark, Bradders. We're finally off the mark. All that effort and graft, things are happening. He's well all right, mate. That could be a 30. That could actually be a 30. An absolute breeze block of a mirror carp. The end. Welcome to my syndicate lake in Cambridgeshire. We are on a very, very windy and a little bit cold 48-hour session, and we're actually 24 hours into the session already. To say it's been a grueler is probably an understatement. We've moved 3 times. We are 24 hours into the session and we're still yet to catch. We started yesterday in a swim known as No Carp Bay, and it lived up to its name. We didn't catch any carp out of it. We were probably in there for 4 or 5 hours. I'd seen a couple of fish quite early on, so decided to go in there. We flicked some rods out. Like I said, spent 4 or 5 hours in there and nothing happened. So we decided to move into another swim called the Double. I know the Double well, and having caught from the spots before, I decided to go in there. This was off the back of seeing a few fish as well. But by morning, nothing had happened other than we'd got wind burnt to bits. I'd lost my hat because it got blown over the fence into the hedge and I couldn't get it. I've knocked bait over. I've had a bit of a nightmare session, if I'm totally honest, and I'm pretty fed up. But we can't give up yet. I've decided to move over the other side of the lake, again after seeing quite a few fish show. The wind is a nightmare, but it has changed a little bit. It's gone a little bit more westerly now, and it's blowing into 2 swims, one known as the Point and one known as the Plateau. I've decided to come in the Point because the Plateau is unbelievably windy. You're like on the end of 50-mile-an-hour winds, and for filming, it's not ideal. So we've decided to come into the Point, and we've seen a couple of very, very big fish show, pretty short in here, like 30, 40 yards out. So I've decided to drop the rods nice and short, and we're going to see what happens. I do feel a little bit more confident in here. We just need the wind to drop off a little bit and we might be a bit happier. Oh yeah, and the rods could do with going off as well. So fingers crossed, we will see what happens during the next 24 hours. So I'm just getting my rods ready to put out for today, and I thought I'd just talk you through the rig presentations that I've gone for. I did have a little play around yesterday. The lake bed was ultra clear over there, a little bit deeper water. I did have a play around with solid bags, did have a mess about with zigs as well, but to no avail. So I've just gone back to what I know today. So this is it. This is on all 3 rods. It's safety clips or drop-off inlines only on this lake. So I'm using sort of a standard lead clip, tail rubber and dark matter tubing. It's nice and heavy, stays out of the carp's way, and obviously protects their flanks as well, which is always a bonus. A big old 5-ounce lead. I always like a heavy lead, particularly in this windy weather. You know it's not going to get pulled off the bottom or anything like that. And of course I'm dropping it from a bait boat, so it's very, very easy to get out there. That runs through to something slightly unconventional, I guess, and that is a soft braid. That is 30 pounds dark matter braid, which is very, very heavy, but the key is supple. When I'm fishing big leads on safety clips, obviously that lead is going to really, really dig into the bottom, unlike when you're fishing a helicopter system where you can get away with slightly stiffer hook links. But if that lead was to go into the bottom and potentially dig in, I've always got that nice sort of supple effect of the hook link, and I know that it isn't going to be sticking up at any funny angles on the bottom. It's always going to sort of go down on that supple braid and land nicely on the lake bed. That is running through to a spinner rig with a size 4 curve, and that is just balanced by one of those balancing weights there on the swivel. The yellow pop up there is a Northern Special, which I'm ultra confident in. Done really well on here throughout the winter, and I know that they like them. And then in the middle of that, I've just got a dollop of dark matter putty. That's just to keep it pinned down on the bottom. Oh, you know, wind's just gone through the rods. But yeah, nice and simple, really effective rig, one that's done me proud. Let's hope it does on this session. It's been a long time coming, this has. This is the third or fourth move of the session, and it's been a bit of a nightmare, if I'm honest, in the wind, dropping stuff, breaking stuff, losing stuff. But yeah, we've moved and I'm in. Just see the tip spring round. First I thought it might be the coot, but absolutely ripped round, and we're in. I've got to concentrate because there's some reeds over there and we don't want her getting in them. Beggars cannot be choosers. And it's a very small one. Oh, really small actually, but we'll take it. Hey. We're off the mark, Bradders. We're finally off the mark. Well, this is absolutely mental. I've just had that tiny little one, and the middle rod is wrapped round. Oh, to be honest, this is just mental. But I'm glad I moved, I can assure you. Don't feel too bad. Conditions are just mental. They really are. Wow. Ah. Okay, we're in. Well, after 3 moves, finally, we are getting amongst them. This is the second bite of the morning at, I don't know, 21, 22 pounds, something like that. Nice old common. Hopefully, there will be a few more to come now we've moved sort of off of the wind. There's definitely a few fish out there anyway, and we'll take this one. Got a smaller one in the net, ready to be photographed as well. Hopefully, there'll be a few bigger fish to come. Result. Well, how about that for a little corker? Not really what Monks is known for, that one, but a beautiful little carp all the same. And to be honest, we were pretty chuffed to get him first of all. It's been a bit of a graft this trip, but anyway. Pretty little carp. Let's get him back. Little celebratory cup of tea. Sorry, man, that probably sounded horrible through the headphones. No, we're having a little celebratory cup of tea because I've caught a couple, finally. Depressed little faces this morning, cold, wind-burnt little faces have finally cheered up. We've got into a swim that is semi off the wind, not completely, but a little bit off the wind. And we're on carp. We saw a couple of very big fish show as soon as we got here. And shortly after that, or shortly after getting the rods out, we'd had a couple of bites. So, yeah, we're happy. We're going to go into the night with a little bit more confidence. Rods are back out on the dance floor now. Still windy, but we'll take it. 2 carp and hopefully a bigger one to come. So this is my chosen bait concoction for the session. There is a few little rules here. You can only use sort of certain particles, no nuts, that sort of thing. So I'm really going down sort of the boilie and pellet route, which is a very, very good spring tactic anyway. So I'm basically filling up the hoppers with a mixture of bait, a mixture of colour, textures and smells. The first one is my trusty tuna. These are 10 millers and they've actually been soaked the night before in hot water and marine amino 365, and they are really, really soft, squidgy, almost paste-like when you squidge them in between your fingers, and it's just something I have confidence in. I do like a soft bait, and the carp here love a bit of tuna. So that goes into the hopper. Barley likes it as well, as you can see. I've got a mixture of pellets, mixture of sizes in there. I've got some 4 mils, some 8 mils, some 14 mils. I've even got a few big halibuts, again, just for a bit of variation. Finally, just add a little bit of fleck of colour. Barley, you're not eating them. We've got some sweet corn. Trusty old golden grain. Again, I don't really go fishing too often without some sweet corn. I've also added to the mix a few handfuls of rock salt. Now, carp require this as sort of part of their sort of natural needs, if you like, pre-spawning, and it's the perfect time of year to do that. They're going to be spawning in the next month or so rock salt can be a real winner. Only a couple of scoops of that you need, but yeah, that is sort of my general mix for this spring session, and it's been working. Well, the move is really paying off. All that effort and graft, things are happening. Just put this rod into slightly deeper water for the night, onto where we see a few fish show, and yeah, it's just pulled round. So we're in again. So our 3rd fish of the day. Amazing how things can turn round. Oh, it's another tiny one. But fish number 3. It is a sprat for this lake. Right, let's get it back out there, because there are bigger fish out there.
Why did you go into the session fishing like 3 different setups?
I don't know really. Probably the main reason, mate, is we're here to do a film. Obviously desperate to catch a fish. So I thought I'd vary the tactics a little bit. I've been on a bit of a barren spell the last few weeks on here as well. So I was eager to try something a little bit different. There was a fly hatch going on yesterday. That was obvious. There were flies buzzing around everywhere. So that was the obvious reason for trying to zig on one rod. Solid bag on the other, and my sort of standard pop-up approach on the other, just to sort of test the water really.
But you've gone back to...
I've soon jumped back to my normal tactics, mate, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you can faff around too much, can't you, mate? At the end of the day, like I said, I'd had a couple of weeks barren spell. I hadn't been on the fish, simple as that. And
so you started on here in the winter.
Mm.
Is that something you'd normally do with like fishing a venue?
No, not normally, mate. This lake is renowned to be good in the winter, and I've been looking for a good winter water for a number of years. I've been flitting around with like perch and pike and stuff in the winter, as you know. We've been a few times together, but this year I finally found a decent winter water with a good track record. And I think I went perch fishing like once this year because I was right into here, and yeah, I did all right.
Yeah, definitely had a few.
Yeah,
definitely had a few. That's got to be an exciting factor with this lake. Like, you don't know what you're going to catch.
No, you don't, mate. It's got a real good number of big fish in it, and they vary as well. It is a box of chocolates. You could have a beautiful scaly, fully scaled, mid-20, 30 pounder. You could have a small, real small one, and then the next bite could be a 58 pounder, mate. You know, it's crazy. It really is. And I had a few 40s this winter, up to just under 47. So for me, that's serious winter fishing, that.
So with you saying it fishes well throughout the winter,
yeah,
normally that entails like single hook baits or six, but you're catching over bait all winter.
I was, mate. I did a bit of time, you know. I was doing 48 hours a week, and because I had that time, I wanted to sort of build a bit of a campaign, really. I fished mostly fished in one swim. There was only a small group of us on it, like 3 of us. We kind of had our own areas, really, and we kind of left them alone for each other. So I found a couple of nice spots in the middle of the lake that commanded plenty of water. I saw fish there, I knew they were there, and yeah, so I kept feeding them. Kept maggots, casters, chops going in throughout the winter. The spot was getting harder and harder. The fish were clearly there because I was seeing them at night time, hearing them at night time. And yeah, I think I ended up with 35 fish maybe this winter, which is pretty mental, really.
Yeah.
Well, it is absolutely kicking off over here. This is the 4th bite today. And yeah, I'm glad I moved. Felt like a big one, but I think it was just a bit caught up in the old kelp. Is it taking the other rod out? Is that all right? He's well all right, mate. That could be a 30. That could actually be a 30. Well, it's been absolute graft, but finally, our effort has been rewarded. An absolute breeze block of a mirror carp, a tad over 31 pounds, and our 4th fish since the move. We've actually got all night to go, so we've still got chances, even chances of a bigger one, believe it or not. But if we don't, that is the icing on the cake. 31 pounds of solid mirror carp. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Right, let's get you home, fella. Sorry, mate, he's got out of the net. He's in there somewhere, about 20 yards out.
Cheers for the release shot.
Sorry. The end. Well, good morning. What a polar opposite of a morning. it was to yesterday. Unfortunately, the night was quiet. It got really cold, temperatures dropped, wind dropped, skies became a lot clearer, and it just looked a little bit dead this morning, if I'm honest. But really goes to show the highs and lows of a 48-hour session. It's been absolute graft at times, but well worth it. We're going to wrap it up now and head on home.